When passions and career paths overlap, it makes for an interesting selection of reading material. This month's top 10 list is no different, especially since it comes from an author who is equally passionate about fantasy as she is about history. I'm your host, Garrett K. Jones, and for the April top 10 list, I've invited returning author KJ Backer as this month's guest host. Happy Saturday and welcome to my channel. If you're new, glad to have you, and if you're a returning viewer, glad to have you back. You can become a channel supporter through Patreon and of course the merch store down in the video description. I will talk more about both of those options towards the end of the video. Of course, the fastest, the easiest, and the most free way to support what we do here is by becoming a subscriber. So make sure to click that subscribe button and smash that like button.
Film, television, and going to the movies has been a quintessential part of my life since I was a little kid. My earliest memories are about movies, and even now, I'm still that guy who gets calls from friends and family members picking my brain for obscure movie references. I run the Film Maniacs column published by the Hanford Sentinel, Selma Enterprise, and Kingsburg Recorder newspapers, and it's my job to provide you guys with a clear and concise review of the various movies and television programs being released. I'm your host, Garrett K. Jones, and I want to welcome you to the all-new Film Maniacs podcast.
Now, if you're local to the Kings County area, I want to let you know that I'm going to be leading a set of monthly lecture workshops at the Kings County Library in Hanford, California. The official dates haven't been fixed just yet. They're still kind of in flux, but starting in May, I will be doing these lectures, and as soon as I have more details, I will provide them through social media.
Before going any further with the video, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon for notifications on new videos. You can select notifications for all videos, or you can select notifications based on your preferences. If you're watching on your phone, be sure to update those settings inside the app itself to get the most out of your viewing experience.
So I connected a couple of years ago with this month's guest host when I invited her to be a part of the second season for the channel. She has a fantastic trilogy of books called Nav'Aria, which I'm sure she will make mention of the series in her videos, and they are fun to read. I have the first two books and they are great. So here she is providing her top 10 personal recommendations.
Hi, my name's KJ Backer. I'm here today to share my top 10 favorite reads. I'm so excited to dive in. Just wanted to throw it out there though. While Nav'Aria, the stories that I wrote, I have a fantasy trilogy, holds such a dear place in my heart, I'm taking them out of the running today because I would rather share with you, at least for right now, about what stories I love and what really helped me as a reader evolve as a writer. Book number 1. The Wheel of Time. If you've hung around my page at all, I am obsessed with The Wheel of Time, the entire series. And so since I was asked today to give you the top 10, there's no way, obviously, because this massive series would just take over that whole thing. So I'm only just choosing for my book 1, the entire series. So while I love Eye of the World, there's so many within the entire series of like 14 books, right? That are just so incredible. Wheel of Time, I started reading when I was probably 12. And they became my friends. I love it. I love the epic nature that Robert Jordan created with his storytelling, the plot, the dark one, all of the different things. The Trollocs, are you kidding me? So scary. And so I started reading it when I was 12, and now I'm a 35-year-old woman, and it still holds true. It is my most favorite series. I reread the entire series in the last like 5 years. I read the entire thing before the show came out, and it's definitely still number one for me. Pick number 2, Game of Thrones, or A Song of Ice and Fire. I absolutely adore these books as well. Come on, George, we need the rest of them. I have a dog named Drogo. I named after the book character, Khal Drogo, of course. When the TV show released, I quickly ran to the bookstore, grabbed book 1, I devoured the series, and then I've read them as they were released, and I'm just, of course, as many of us are, waiting for the next one. But love the world he created, and I absolutely love the show. I still have my sweet doggie who's named after the book, so it holds a very special place in my heart. Book number 3, Stormlight Archive, or should I say series. I guess I just love really big series and really big books. I'm not afraid of reading a big old book. But I absolutely love Way of Kings. In the beginning of Stormlight Archive, we meet Kaladin, who is, again, one of my other most favorite literary characters and maybe even boyfriend. Love him. I love Olive Bridge 4. Everything that Brandon Sanderson does. I'm just a really, really big fan. I highly respect him as a reader and as a writer myself. Everything that he's created to be able to take over Wheel of Time and to finish someone else's work, I was just blown away from him when I first discovered him, as many other Wheel of Time readers. And so once he started putting out his own work, I've just been a huge fan. I read pretty much everything of his. I haven't read all of his YA, but I've read Mistborn, Stormlight, his standalones, Elantris, Warbreaker, love them all. But definitely for my top 3 pick, I'm gonna say Stormlight Archive. Okay, pick number 4. I'm mixing it up, so I'm moving away from fantasy and picking historical fiction. Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. Have you read it? Oh my gosh, I love this one. Highly recommend this book. I am by trade, besides being a writer, I'm also a world history teacher, and so I just love, again, the rich world that Ken Follett explores with this one, set during the medieval period and really like following this family and this whole town with the creation of a cathedral. And it's so interesting. I've actually used it in the classroom to reference, and there's the mini series called Pillars of the Earth that's really, really good too. So I love it. He continues the series with World Without End and Columns of Fire. Ken Follett's just a powerhouse in the historical fiction world. And while I wouldn't say his following books are maybe at the same level for me as Pillars of the Earth, I'm still a big fan. Okay, book 5. My favorite pick here would be A Voice in the Wind. It's called The Mark of the Lion Trilogy by Francine Rivers. Have you read this one? So good. So again, like I said, world history teacher. I love ancient Rome. And what I really enjoy about this series is it's technically Christian fiction or Christian historical fiction. And it portrays Christianity, like it really explores Christian persecution during the Roman Empire. And it's just so interesting. There's some love, there's a lot of action, and it's just really, really interesting. So I've always loved this one. I found it in college, and I've read this series twice. So I recommend this one as well as my top 5 pick. 6. This is the Tea Rose Trilogy by Jennifer Donnelly. Love it. I love the entire thing. This was the first book that I discovered of Jennifer Donnelly's, and I've read pretty much everything she's written since. Huge fan of her work. I love connecting with other female writers. I love the grit. I love that she's not afraid to just really kind of go there, and it's just everything she puts out. I love all of it. She has YA books, she has adult books, but the Tea Rose, there's Jack the Ripper and tea parties and everything in between. It's crazy, it's good, it's gritty. Men and women would love it. Expelliarmus. Yep, you guessed it. Harry Potter made it into my top 10. I'm choosing book 4 of the Harry Potter series for my top 7 pick. While I love the entire series, there's something about the Goblet of Fire that is just like, it is so good. The Chef's Kiss. I love everything about this one. The kids are getting older. Spoiler, I don't want to like ruin Harry Potter for any of you, but like, what are you waiting for? You should have read it by now. Voldemort comes back, right? We have the house elves, you have dragons, you have merfolk. I love all of it. As a fantasy nerd, I just loved that we got a bit more of world building as well. We got to see other magical species and races and all these different peoples coming together to kind of explore. And so I just loved seeing all the different magical societies, and anything with dragons is like awesome. So that's my 7 pick. Book 8. Okay, my choice for book 8, I'm just going into classic literature. I know I'm mixing it up with all these genres, but it's good reading. Have you read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte? If not, I love this one. Don't get me wrong, I've read Jane Austen and I've read Wuthering Heights and some of these different classic literature pieces, but for some reason this one really sticks with me. I love Jane Eyre, I love her wit, I love just the enigmatic theme all throughout. It's just a little bit spooky if you read the story, and so I really like just the suspense and her strong character and a lot of the different themes within this one. I haven't read it in a really long time. I have seen one of the films. I don't know if there's multiple versions or if it's just one. I mean, it's pretty outdated and not the best, but the one I saw, but I'm all in still. I don't care. I love Jane Eyre and I love a good female author. So my book 9 pick, The Dentist of Auschwitz. So this one's a little bit different than the others. This one is a memoir, and so that means it's a true story and set during the Holocaust. So this is a heavy read, one I highly recommend. It's made a big impact in my life. The author, Benjamin Jacobs, walks us through the entirety of his experience. And so something that's so unique about this book and that I really appreciate is that he takes us from like the beginning. So from the very beginning, while he's living in Poland, his whole childhood, and we get the really early stages of Nazi aggression. Then we see like those Holocaust, World War II, those true years, right? And all the different camps and the different things that he experiences. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's some heavy stuff, and it's just absolutely remarkable what he overcomes, and that he's still able to have such a strong sense of compassion for others, friendship, this strong drive for survival and family, and it's all in there. It's so good, it's so inspiring. But the thing that really stands out to me is that it doesn't stop there with being, in Auschwitz. It continues post-liberation. So many stories that I've encountered as a teacher and a lot of resources are, January 1945, the Soviets liberate Auschwitz, and there you go. And that's where a lot of stories, there's still so many wonderful resources out there, but what I appreciate about this is that he continues. Like, what happens the next day and the next day? Because it's so fascinating and interesting, and as a teacher, to be able to show my students through someone's primary source what it is that they experience, being displaced, being spread across Europe, not knowing if your family member survived. What do? You can't just go home to your home in Poland or Germany. Where did these people go? And so he really walks you through that. And so as a reader and as an educator, I just find it fascinating, really, really great, gripping, heartbreaking, inspiring read. So if you're looking for something a little bit more perhaps timely or historical, a true story, something to really just kind of set you into that time frame. So my last pick, just have to give a nod to one of my favorite books as a child, The Chronicles of Narnia, of course. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe specifically, and I love the movie too. I loved this one as a kid. I love the character of Aslan, all the symbolism within Narnia. I love all the creatures, Mr. Tumnus. I just love them all, and it just, from a young age, I guess I was a fantasy nerd. I've loved it since the very beginning, and this book is very special for me because I was able to, once becoming a mother, to read The Chronicles of Narnia with my daughter. And so this one we just specifically love together. We love watching the movie, and so it just holds a really, really special place in my heart. Right, that's my top 10 books. Thanks so much for hanging out here. I'm so excited that there are fellow book nerds out there that love to nerd out about all things epic, sad, gritty, educational, all the different things and themes within these books. I love so many of them. I'd love to find out if you're into these books too. You can find me on social, KJ Backer, or if you'd like to learn more about my own writing, Nav'Aria, you can find me kjbacker.com. Learn all things epic unicorns. So come hang out with me online, and otherwise, go read. See ya.
A big thank you goes out to KJ Backer for sharing her top 10 book recommendations. If you're interested in connecting with Kate, or if you want to get her books, you can do so by clicking on the links down in the video description. Hey, thanks for watching. Please make sure to hit like and subscribe. If you'd like to support this channel, you can do so over at Patreon through one of 3 affordable support plans. Patrons get access to blooper reels, behind the scenes videos, and so much more. You can also buy sweet merch from my store on Teespring, which you can then turn around and rep on Instagram and Twitter by tagging me at GKJ_publishing and making sure to use the hashtag 5Kingdoms merch. Or you can sign up for the free poster giveaway. I'm giving away this free poster. It's going to be autographed. All the links are down in the video description, and I will announce a winner when I hit 200 YouTube subscribers. Now I'll see you guys back here next week for a brand new author awareness interview featuring poet extraordinaire Billy J. Barnum.
The vlog of the 5 Kingdoms is filmed without the use of a live audience at Skyrocket Studios in Hanford, California. We can't do what we do without your help, so please make sure to subscribe by clicking the button that's above my head, and make sure to watch and share the videos over here to my left. Have a great week.